3 pieces of news from Jamaica and around the world. Welcome to my channel. This is Stale News, where your news is always one day late and $1 short. But before we get into the news, guys, if you are new here, welcome. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, now would be a good time to do so. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you'll be first to get notified. Now, today, people, we're going to talk about, number one, the murder of kIIIs in Jamaica. Number two, we're going to talk about the increase in oxtail thefts in America. And then we're going to talk about the nurse in Pennsylvania who took the lives of several patients using insulin. Alright guys, so let us do first things first. We're going to talk about the murder of kIIIs. kIIIs was a Jamaican man who had migrated to Canada over 20 years ago. And after his migration, he subsequently worked his way up to owning a restaurant over there in Toronto, a restaurant called The Diner's Choice. Well, recently, as a matter of fact, on October 14, Merrick went to Jamaica for the funeral of his sister. He was expected to leave the island on October 30, but that would never happen because on the morning of October 24, Merrick's lifeless body was found on Welcome Beach in Clarendon. Now, we are still unsure of the circumstances surrounding Merrick's death, but those of us who have seen the picture of his body lying outside of his rental car can almost assume that robbery was not the motive, that it was not somebody random who had come upon him and then took his life. It's clear that based on the remoteness of the area, that he was more than likely lured to that spot where his life was taken. This is why a lot of people are afraid to go to Jamaica. A lot of us who have left Jamaica and have moved out, lived abroad for many years, we're afraid to go back. Because while we are out here suffering, working hard, struggling, and trying to make a way for ourselves and our children in life, there are people back home who are planning and plotting just to we touch a yard. And if we ever touch a yard, their plans to dirt us is going to come true. And so when a lot of us say we're not going back, people say, well, if you have a yard and not go back to your yard, you sell out. They wouldn't understand. And things like these are happening so frequently. People go back to Jamaica just for a week when it's not family dirt them, his friend, his boyfriend, his girlfriend, is somebody down there taking the lives of people who are coming back either to visit or to come back and live in Jamaica. And this is very, very sad. According to the news, the Clarendon police are continuing their probe into the murder of a Jamaican-Canadian man whose body was found with gunshot wounds in bushes in Salt River, Clarendon on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 43-year-old kIIIs, a businessman from Ontario, Canada, also the co-owner of The Diner's Corner, a Jamaican restaurant in Toronto. Reports are that about 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, Ayers' body was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the head and other sections of his body. A motor car that he had rented from the airport in Montego Bay was found by his side. The police are theorizing that maybe he was lured to the area, robbed, and then shot. Meanwhile, tributes are continuing to flow for the deceased restaurant owner on social media. One person says, Owen was a dear friend. He indicated that he was in such disbelief at the tragic news, he couldn't believe it. One person, in giving tribute to Owen and his family, said, Owen always embodied warmth, tranquility, and a commitment to delivering exceptional service, a trait he instilled in his dedicated staff. My heart goes out to Owen's family and friends, both near and far. Another person commented and said, I'm in shock. I just met Owen at Blockabana this year. He was such a beautiful soul. May his soul rest in peace. And the tributes continue to pour in for a man who had brought himself up by his own bootstraps and was making headways in life when he was suddenly cut down at the hands of gunmen. Our prayers and sympathies go out to the Ayers family, to Owen's loved ones and close friends, and to the staff at the Diner's Choice. May his soul rest in peace. Now we're going to move right along, talking about restaurant and cooking and good food and all those things. We're going to move on to the latest news that is coming out of the states, particularly out of Florida. The increased theft of oxtail. No, people, oxtail. Over the years, oxtail, which is the tail of the cow, has become a coveted meat choice for any gathering, whether it be a wedding, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is. The tail of the cow that used to be the discarded part has now become the most coveted cut of the cow. Talk about the stone that the builder refused, becoming the head cornerstone. Well, not the head this time, it's the tail cornerstone. But anyway, we are going to move on. 2 men have been arrested and charged after they were caught with 46 packages of meat they had stolen from multiple grocery stores in the Houston area. On Monday, a Harris County Precinct police officer stopped a car on the freeway only to find several packages of oxtail in the trunk. The occupants in the car were identified as 30-year-old Jacob Trevino and 31-year-old Robert Stevenson. Authorities further said investigations revealed that they had stolen the 46 packages of meat from 4 different stores, totaling a little over $1,000. They had planned to chop it up and resell it during the holiday season. Now, is it that serious, guys? Is it that serious? Some oxtail, come on now. Some oxtail. Somebody a thief oxtail, go to supermarket, go thief oxtail, just for sell. I tell you guys, oxtail is very expensive, you know. I went into the store the other day, the oxtail was $12.99 a pound. I would never buy it. I am not buying no oxtail for no $12.99. I can do without it. I can buy saltfish, I can buy chicken. I can always postpone the gratification for eating oxtail and substitute it with something else. Some people can't do without it, no matter how expensive it is. They will still buy it. Went to a restaurant, look at the oxtail menu, and one dish of oxtail was $32. Really? No. Me no love oxtail that much. Not buying it. But there are people who will do anything to get oxtail no matter what the price is. Alright? That's not going to be me. But for those of you who are determined that you must have oxtail on the table this Thanksgiving, you must have oxtail on the table this Christmas, yeah. Don't be buying a black market oxtail. Don't be buying an oxtail from the person who sent it to you out of their trunk. Not only the fact that they may have stolen it, but if they have had it at subpar temperatures for a long time, you and your family might end up with food poisoning. So, skip out on the oxtail if you are not sure of where you are buying it. Alright? And furthermore, if the oxtail is too cheap, too good to be true, then it probably is. Fall on the basket, listen for yourself. Alright, we're going to move on. I know earlier I had said that news was going to come out of Florida. Well, actually it came out of Texas. So just a correction there before we move right along into another piece of news. This time this is coming out of Philadelphia. Police say a nurse in Philadelphia, her name is Heather Presty, she has been charged with unaliving several patients using insulin. Can you believe it, people? Patients put their trust in nurses. Nurses are supposed to administer medication to the patient. They are supposed to administer the right medication at the right time, the right dose to the right patient at the right time. Yes, and for the right reason. But can you believe nurses are out there selectively choosing medications that's not even ordered for a patient, all because they want to unalive the patient? What is going on in healthcare? Why would any nurse do such a thing? I have absolutely no clue, and I've been a nurse for almost 20 years, and I cannot even fathom why a nurse would do that. You went into nursing to care, and despite the many meanings of the word care based on a person's selective choice, you go in to take care of the patients. And you tell me that while the patients are depending on you to keep them alive, to care for them, you are secretly plotting to unalive them. Good Lord have mercy. Let us read this article here. This article here says, 2 more victims have been added to the death toll of a Pennsylvania nurse accused of unaliving her patients. Heather Presty has now been accused of murder in the deaths of 4 additional patients and has also been hit with 17 counts of attempted murder for allegedly giving lethal doses of insulin to numerous patients at different facilities where she had worked. In total, Heather Presty, who is 41 years old, has been charged with mistreating 22 patients ranging in ages from 43 to 104 since 2020. The allegations against Ms. Presty are very disturbing. It is hard to comprehend how a nurse trusted to care for her patients could choose to deliberately and systematically harm them. A lawyer for Presty said she's trying to avoid the death penalty and the new charges were not unexpected. The alleged crimes happened while Presty was employed as a registered nurse at the following facilities: Concordian at Rebecca Residence, Bel Air Healthcare and Rehabilitation, Quality Life Services, Chicora, Premier Armstrong Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, and the Sunnyview Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Presty did short stints at several nursing homes and facilities in Western Pennsylvania since 2018, according to the document, and before that worked as a vet tech. Now, this woman, I would not be one to advocate for this woman not to get the death penalty. Come on now, when you have a patient who is 104 years old, has lived a long life, you expect that person to die a peaceful death. You do not expect somebody to deliberately and systematically plan and plot when that person is going to die. When patients go in nursing homes, it's not because they are old and debilitated most times. A lot of times they have debilitating conditions like MS, myasthenia gravis, something like that, that renders them unable to care for themselves and their family members unable to be there to care for them. And so they put them in what they believe should be a safe environment where they will be cared for adequately. And when they do that, they put a lot of trust in the staff. Now, for them to put all this trust in these facilities and to have a nurse who has sworn to care for them go about taking their lives, I can't even imagine how devastating this has to be for the family members who are now learning that their family members were a victim of this crazed nurse. This is a sad situation all around. This nurse deserves to be punished ultimately for what she did and the pain she has caused. And to my fellow nurses out there, I say to you, always act prudently in the benefit of your patient and their family members. They are why you are there. Okay? And to the rest of the community, I extend my sincere sympathies as a nurse. And I don't want you to lose trust in nursing. We are not all bad people. There is just a few bad apples that's trying to spoil the whole crop. Join us again tomorrow with 3 more pieces of news from Stale News, where your news is always one day late and $1 short.